They told you to let it go, and suddenly you couldn't. The harder you tried not to care, the deeper you fell. That's the quiet paradox of reverse psychology. It doesn't command you. It invites you to disobey. It gives you the illusion of control while guiding your every step. You think you're rebelling, but you're walking right where they wanted you to go. Reverse psychology works because it feeds your ego. It makes you feel powerful when you're actually predictable. The human mind hates obedience, so it disguises submission as independence. Every time you prove them wrong, you're proving they understand you better than you understand yourself. That's the real manipulation, silent, elegant, and visible. Think about it. You were told, don't text them, and your fingers burned to type. You were told, you won't succeed, and that became your obsession. Reverse psychology doesn't push you. It lets your pride pull you toward the very thing you swore you'd avoid. It turns defiance into a leash. You think you're in charge, but you're just reacting. There's a reason it works so well: pride. Pride whispers that you're no one's puppet. Pride makes you mistake reaction for freedom. Reverse psychology doesn't fight pride. It flatters it. It tells your ego what it wants to hear, and then quietly redirects it. You feel clever for resisting, not realizing you've been steered by your own emotions. You can see it everywhere, in parenting, politics, relationships. The best manipulators don't force, they suggest. They say, don't worry, I don't care what you do, knowing you'll prove them wrong. They plant the thought and walk away. The mind does the rest. It's not the words that control you. It's your need to decide for yourself. Reverse psychology thrives in those who crave validation. It targets the emotional reflex that screams, I'll show you. The trick is not to convince you, it's to trigger you. Once that emotional switch flips, logic vanishes. You start performing, not choosing. You move from self-awareness to self-defense, trying to win a game they created. The people who master this art rarely raise their voice. They use silence. They let you think the idea was yours. The moment you feel ownership, the manipulation is complete. That's why the most dangerous influence doesn't look like control. It feels like empowerment. You're not forced. You're guided by your own resistance. It begins early. A parent says, don't touch that, and you touch it. A teacher says, you can't, and you must prove them wrong. The pattern forms in childhood. Rebellion mistaken for identity. You grow up believing that defiance equals freedom. But what if it's just another form of obedience, shaped by the need to prove yourself right? Reverse psychology exposes your unhealed parts, the parts that still seek approval, even when pretending not to care. It uses pride as a mirror, showing you where you're still fragile. When you react just to prove you're in control, you reveal where you're not. Every emotional outburst is proof that someone else found your switch. It's not only others who use it against you. You use it on yourself. You say, I don't need this, just to feel like you have a choice. You pretend not to want something, hoping it will want you back. It's self-inflicted reverse psychology, born from fear of loss. You're both the manipulator and the manipulated, trapped in your own mind's tricks. In relationships, this becomes emotional chess. Someone pulls away, and you chase harder. They say, I'm done, and suddenly you're desperate to prove they're wrong. That's not love, it's reverse control. The game only ends when you stop needing to win. because every reaction keeps the loop alive, and silence is the only way out. Reverse psychology also governs social power. Politicians, marketers, influencers, they don't command your attention. They withhold it. They say, "We're not forcing you," while carefully shaping what you think is a free choice. The modern world doesn't demand obedience. It engineers it emotionally. That's the new sophistication of control. The truth is, you can't outsmart it by fighting harder. The more you resist, the deeper you sink. Awareness is the only exit. When you see the pattern clearly, it loses its magic. You stop reacting. You start observing. And that shift from emotional reflex to conscious choice breaks the entire mechanism instantly. But awareness demands humility. It forces you to admit how easily you're swayed by pride, guilt, or the hunger to prove something. That's uncomfortable. Yet the discomfort is freedom forming. Because once you understand your triggers, you stop handing them over to anyone who knows how to push them. The power of reverse psychology ends where inner peace begins. When you no longer need to be right, no one can control you. When you no longer crave validation, manipulation loses its leverage. The moment your reaction dies, the game collapses. Silence becomes strength, and calm becomes armor. Still, don't demonize it. Reverse psychology can also heal. Therapists use it to bypass resistance. Sometimes the only way to change behavior is to guide the ego gently, not by force, but by paradox. When used with empathy, it becomes a mirror that helps people confront their inner defiance with compassion, not control. You start to see that the same mechanism that traps you can also free you. The mind that resists commands can still respond to awareness. When someone says, "Do whatever you want," and you pause instead of reacting, that's evolution. You're no longer fighting, you're choosing consciously, and that's where real autonomy begins. Reverse psychology isn't about deception. It's about understanding the emotional architecture of choice. It reveals the space between impulse and action, the place where freedom hides. Once you see that space, you realize control isn't something others take. It's something you give away through unconscious reaction. The ones who truly master themselves don't play the game. They no longer respond to provocation or praise. They've outgrown the need to prove. When you stop reacting, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is the one thing manipulation can't control. Calm is your rebellion. Awareness is your escape. So remember this. Reverse psychology is only powerful when you forget who's watching. The moment you witness your own reaction, the illusion dies. Control ends. You don't need to outthink anyone. You just need to see. Because once you see the game, you're no longer in it. You're free.